Mr. Ong Wei Nong.
Question 9, sir.
And who from MSF is taking the... Oh, sorry. I didn't see you, Eric.
Sir, MSF regularly reviews the assistance coverage and payout quanta of ComCare schemes to ensure adequate assistance for lower-income families to meet their basic living needs. We last increased the assistance quantum for the ComCare short to medium-term assistance and long-term assistance in August last year. During these reviews, MSF references data and information from different sources. These include price data from the Department of Statistics, views from domain experts and community stakeholders, as well as academic studies and research commissioned by the MSF.
Mr. Ong Wei Nong.
Thank you, speakers, and thank you, SPS, for your reply. We noted that the MIS reports state that the minimum income standard budget for the household with school-going children is $6,693 per month, or about $1,600 per capita. And this means the Conley report is equivalent to 30th percentile of all working households in Singapore. And since MSF is giving financial assistance to the lowest 20% income of the household, so would MSF think that the $800 per capita income as a criteria to provide financial assistance is too high or too low? At the same time, I think Ministry has also sent out a press release to say that the government analysis that the proposed money income stated in the MIS report is about $1,680 per capita is similar to the money expenditure of $1,650 per capita of all families and children. So there's a big discrepancy. They are saying that their study, the MIS income is based on about 30th percentile of the household income, whilst MSF and other ministries are saying that it's equivalent to about 50% of the income, household income in Singapore. So if MSF disagree with this report, which is internationally conducted in many countries, why would not MSF consider doing their own report using the data that's available to MSF and to refute this or to convince the Singaporeans better? Thank you.
SPS Chua.
So I thank the member for his SQs. I think I might want to just perhaps remind the member of 2 points in my main reply. The first statement of my main reply reads, we regularly review assistance coverage to ensure adequate assistance for low-income families to meet their basic living needs. First point. Second point, the last statement of my short reply, I mentioned that we reference different sources, price data from the Department of Statistics DOS, views from domain experts, community stakeholders, as well as academic studies and research studies that has been commissioned by us in MSF. On the MIS, I think I thank the member for raising the spotlight on this study. I just want to quote what the MIS study report has stated, and I quote, "It is not just about basic needs like housing, food, clothing, but also what it takes to enable a sense of belonging, respect, security, independence," end quote. So quite clearly, even the MIS report itself has defined what they have found as going beyond basic needs. Hence, what they are describing is really about what is aspirational, what perhaps one or families would like to have. And on this premise, now that we have said it clear, I would also like to raise a few points about the MIS study. The study's methodology, 300 participants, small group discussions, is highly dependent on respondent profile, 1, and 2, group dynamics. So I understand that many respondents themselves in the study are not from lower income households. And when in a group dynamics is real. And oftentimes, minority participants may find it hard to articulate their views, and I shall leave it at that. Also, another assumption that's been made in the study is that lower income households or low income families receive the same amount of financial help as median income households. This is clearly not correct. Lower income families qualify for and they receive more financial help than median households. This is a fact that bears repeating, and I shall say it again. Low income households qualify for and they receive more financial help than median households. This is not something that has been recognized by the MIS study. Last point I'll make, you mentioned 6693, translate into per capita, 1680 per person, quite a nice number. Under the MIS study, that is perhaps closer, as you rightly pointed out, to the average monthly expenditure of 1650 per person for all families with children, rather than reflecting basic needs. So this is in line with the spirit of the MIS study because they are going beyond what is basic needs. They're measuring something that's aspirational, something that is perhaps more than basic. But as I mentioned in my main reply, what we cater for in ComCare, in our subsidies and in our financial assistance schemes, caters for basic needs. And we do need to look at the entirety of what is given or what is provided to the families, not just what the government gives in terms of financial assistance, but also what the community, corporates, as I mentioned in the earlier reply in yesterday's sitting, that how we take a many helping hands approach in making sure that those with less amongst us are well catered for. Finally, a last point, I think the member made a reference to a press release, and indeed a fuller exposition has been set out in a joint press release by MOM and MSF. This was released on the 14th of September, and I refer members to this press release for a fuller exposition.
Associate Professor James Lim.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm not the author of the study, so I want to qualify that, but nevertheless, I think that I have read the study in some detail, and some elements in which SPS Eric has mentioned about how they're aspirational strike many Singaporeans as not entirely so. For example, one of the things that was pointed out by the joint ministry response was that perfume may seem like a bit of an aspirational good. But of course, many Singaporeans will understand as well that in a hot and humid climate like our own, being presentable, smelling normal, would be something that many job seekers would require in order to have some dignity when they go for a job interview or when they go to work. I'm also somewhat puzzled because yesterday, SPS Eric also mentioned how ComCare seems to have expanded their notion of needs to relative needs, such as mobile phone plans and the like. So my question is whether the ministry will be able to explain some of this seemingly large discrepancy between that 6,000 or so for a four-family member household versus what ComCare currently has, which is significantly lower.
SPS Chua.
Sir, I thank the member for his SQs. I also thank him for making me go through an exercise to jog my memory about what I said yesterday. I remember saying in my reply on ComCare, to a PQ on ComCare, that actually we assess our basket of products and services that are needed in a basic package for our ComCare families from time to time. And we have included mobile data plans, I beg your pardon, because that provides for digital connectivity, which in turn provides for human connection, which is a basic need we assess. And that's consistent with what I said today. And I knew that this idea about discretionary items and perfumes, but I'm also not aware how perfumes would add to, how we will present ourselves better in our climate, which is hot and humid. But my point really is, I agree with the member that we do need to be presentable, but because I knew that I was going to be taking this PQ today, I've made 2 calls this morning to 2 of my rental flat residents. Both are single moms, both have in this category of residents that we are discussing about. And I do understand that this is not statistically significant. These are perhaps anecdotes, but these are anecdotes that I thought are instructive, and I've sought their permissions to share this with the House. And I asked them, perfume, jewelry, overseas holidays, what do these items mean to you? How would you describe them? Both of them told me in separate phone conversations without coordination, they tell me almost similar words, and I quote them, "Boss, these are good to have lah." I follow up and I ask, so ideally, how would you like to be able to afford these items? I perhaps provided some MCQ options. Is it through gainful employment, or perhaps would you want that to be part of government assistance? Again, both of them told me without coordinating their replies, "Boss, get a job, earn money, work hard for these things, law." So my takeaway earlier from these two conversations is this: let us not underestimate the agency, the strength, and the dignity of our low-income families, and their ability to turn things around and to break the cycle of poverty, and with them clearly in the loop, with them clearly holding on to the levers of their own lives.
Mr. Ong Wei Nung.
Because, especially, I just want to clarify one point. Because the MS report said that an elderly person above 65 years old need $1,500 per month to survive well. So in MSF's view, what is the minimum amount, basic needs for a 65 years old elderly staying alone to survive? What is the amount? Thank you.
SPS Chua.
So I thank the member for his SQ. I don't have the exact number with me right now, but suffice to say, we do review this. We do revisit the question of what is needed or what is sufficient in different archetypes from time to time.
Mr. Pritam Singh.
Just a follow-up to the SPS's replies. I refer to individuals in a family context, for example, full-time caregivers who have to look after family members who cannot work, and their ability to go out and work in itself is limited. Does MSF look at assisting these families with a higher SSO, short, medium, long-term assistance payout? Thank you.
SPS Chua.
I thank the Leader of Opposition for his SQ. I think the short answer is yes. MSF officers do look at the comprehensive situation of each family, each individual, each household before rendering the appropriate assistance.